Hello, everyone. My name is José María, and today I will be speaking about my final book for the course Society, Development, and Citizenship in Mexico. The book is called Revelations Connecting with the Sacred in Everyday's Life, and it was written by Russell Brand, a British comedian, musician, actor, activist for mental health and drug rehabilitation, author, and thought leader. This book is a spiritual book and the author tries to teach us his transition to having a more spiritual life. He was once a young person who made many mistakes, but all of these mistakes had a purpose for him because if he wasn't an addict, he wouldn't have found the sacred path. So, Revelations tries to teach us how everyone needs to have more spirituality on a daily basis because people have forgotten about this aspect in their life and it can happen that one day it's too late to realize that we need a sacred path to develop ourselves. It is mentioned that people were enslaved by all of this digital and material world, and we are not worthy of living in this world because we haven't reached a top level of consciousness. Revelations will have a better understanding of serenity and peace. Revelations will give us a better understanding of serenity and peace. For a person to make this spiritual transition transformation, there must be an ego deflation, and the ones who we were in the past must die while living in order to be reborn as an spiritual being. Just as Russell of the past died when he reached the bottom and got to the addiction center log cabin, he changed his way of thinking and decided to take the sacred path. He mentions the 12 steps to finish an addiction. For him, all of these groups have a good purpose, but he will only change some ideas to centralize the purpose of these groups and maybe to teach better the persons not only about spiritual things. Whitney Houston is mentioned a lot in chapter 6 because Russell liked her and was an inspiration to him. He thinks that addicts are not very different from an spiritual person because the addict will prioritize the drug over anything to transcend, but transcend in a chemical way. Russell said addiction is an attempted reconciliation for the traumas of the past for addicts. Also, he mentions how he would love to be a monk because he thinks that monks do not feel any pressure on society because they have chosen this life over what society has to offer. A world filled with materialistic people with judgments. If a person chooses the materialistic, they will realize sooner or later that the meaning of life is not only about having, it is about sharing, caring, loving, and to never stop growing ourselves. When the impact of the sacred way is shown, people will experience a different type of union between the community. Now, I will be talking about that because it is an important factor for people to develop. The book gives us an example of a man who lost his wife and was left with his four children. The man needed to go through a process of agony, but when the process was over, he was changed. He became an iceman who loves the cold. This is a metaphor. So death is something in everyone's life, and it comes with whole new teachings and experiences. A good example will be on how to let go of someone to realize who else is there for you. Also, he mentions the death of someone that for some of us was an inspiration and a hero. And that person is Kobe Bryant and his daughter. Russell said that we are not the ones who need to suffer, but we are the ones responsible for helping the people who were directed, affected. I'm talking about Kobe Bryant's family, so we should always support ourselves. We should always support each other. Russell didn't want to speak a lot of about that, but he couldn't help it because for him and for everyone, that it that is an important part of the path. He tells us the story of Martino, a friend of his who helped Russell through a divorce. It is sad because when they were working on a movie together, Martino was detected with a brain tumor. So a learning for everyone is that one day you can be perfectly fine, but the next day something can change your life. So don't leave things for tomorrow. Luckily, Martino was able to survive more than what doctors expected. One story of love that is mentioned in this book is between Russell and his cat pet. For him, the idea of having a pet is silly because it only brings responsibility. But if you're having a pet, for him, it is better to have a cat or a dog than a rabbit because he doesn't like the rabbits for being silenced and also they shit everywhere. So Russell adopted a cat which he became very close to and taught Russell the definition of fatherhood. They became very attached, but also the cat became ill and had to be euthanized. An important lesson that is this story leaves me is about love because for Russell, his cat meant nothing but love. Love is union, love is sacrifice, and for love, his cat had to be sacrificed. For me, the book Revelations was one of the hardest books I've gone through because Russell is now a very serious man, but he still has a certain sense of humor that that confuses the lector because he still sounds very serious. Also, his English was a little difficult to understand. This audiobook, without a doubt, leaves me with so many lessons learned. But what makes me happy is that I was able to take the ideas that inspire me to be someone better than yesterday. Definitely, the purpose of choosing this book was fulfilled, and the purpose of the book also was fulfilled. Now I will try to start developing my inner self because I know I'm still very young, and every year I change my way of thinking to be more empathic and to have better relations with others. And he mentions that Russell mentions that during his 20s, his life was also a mess. So I feel pretty identified with it. Also, um, before reading the book or listening, because it's an audiobook, I was invited to a meditation reunion. So I like how it is supposed to bring some good results because well this was a Buddhist course and they told me that a Buddhist always the Buddhist knows the way of of not caring a lot about things, but to love yourself and always to be a happy person. And this is it for my review of the book Revelations, and I hope you like it. Have a great night.